is the point in time where electric acid is furnished to the facility, and there's a requirement to advance or enhance parking at this particular location. The Scottish Brothers certainly knows and understands that it's required to come back before the board to get site plan approval with respect to expansion of facilities.
Richard, why don't you just, what are you asking for?
Okay, well, I'm telling you what we're not asking for.
What have you done, and what do you want to do?
Well, I was trying to head off some.
Because we can't change anything that we already approved.
Okay, well, I want to do that. Okay, so variances were granted, taking the position that they run with the land. What we're asking the board to do is permit an amendment to the site plan to allow a different method of fencing the property. The detail that was provided with respect to the initial site plan did show some type of materials fence, and at this point in time there exists there a chain link fence. The chain link fence was installed with the approval of the Cannabis Commission, State Commission, and also got temporary approval from the township. This is a request in terms of an application for amended site plan approval to allow that fence to stay in place as a permanent fence for this particular location. So the type of fence is different, but it is fencing nevertheless as required by the land use board, excuse me, the zoning board's requirement with respect to
Is
the
it
grant of the early.
permanent, is that permanent fence there now?
It's the fence that's there now. Right.
And the other one's a little bit fancier.
The first one's a little fancier, but this one we would respectfully submit is equally functional. The first one was, I spec'd out on the plans as a so-called merchant metals fence. This is a standard chain link fence, which serves the purpose, may not be as decorative, but it did receive temporary approval from the township. The applicant and the property owner would like to maintain that fence in place as a permanent measure. The second aspect of this is, now I want to get into detail with regard to earlier approval, what we talked about, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. The contemplation was that as part of phase 1, there would be additional improvements built out, building and greenhouse improvements. That is not in the cards at this point in time. That's not presently envisioned. So the Sconti brothers would like to maintain the status quo in terms of what exists at the site at this particular time without the need or necessity to install site improvements with regard to paving, with regard to stormwater management, with regard to additional site lighting at this particular location until phase 2 is activated, under which circumstances we would need to come back before the board to get final approval of and for phase 2. So there are the two aspects of the site plan that we're seeking the board to permit the applicant to amend with the board's
Now,
approval.
can we make that simple? What is it that you want?
You want the fence.
You want
We want the fence
And
and
do the site improvements on phase 2.
phase 2, that's exactly what they want.
That was a long ways to get to that.
All right, you're absolutely correct. And I understand completely where you're
Hope you're
coming
not getting
from.
paid by the word.
Huh?
Hope you're not getting paid by the word. You're in trouble.
That was a good
Oh,
job.
well, that's, okay.
Is,
So phase 1 is just the extension of the proposed warehouse, correct?
Not even.
No, you want to talk?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and I will be short. Phase 1 is existing buildings, will be maintained. So under phase 1, we were to pave and to provide stormwater management. We're asking the board to consider keep the gravel, which then would not necessitate the need for a stormwater management basin. We will put in the landscaping as shown on the site plan. We will add some lights on the plan as shown on the amended site plan. And we will provide handicap parking delineation as part of the site plan.
Mr. Ronan, have you built anything for phase 1? Is it, or is it just, was existing?
We haven't built anything for phase 1 other than the inclusion of the fencing. So we will add landscaping as shown on the plan. We will indicate the handicap parking spaces as delineated by Mr. Scheidig's office, and we have added lights on the plan for security reasons, pole lights and some building lights as part of this phase. So we'll want to incorporate those changes to the site plan. Now, when we come back for phase 2, 3, and 4, which is part of the overall, all those improvements as shown on the original plan will be completed. So the parking lot will be paved, the basin will be constructed, and we'll move on from there. So simply, we're asking for the fence to remain and no paving for the park.
Why don't we go through the page? There's no new tenant down there, right?
That, we heard testimony as a new tenant. So the facility is operating now for cannabis, for growing and manufacturing. And I guess there's no change to that right now. It's going to operate exactly the way it's operating.
That is correct.
The survey talks about outdoor nursery areas, hoop houses, and the lights. Are they currently being used?
Currently, they're not in use.
So there's only one use, and it's the cannabis. There's no other growing going on the site.
That is correct. There's no other ground. I might as well stay up here.
Paragraph 3, we talked about 2 tenants as shown on the plan. That's been removed from the application. Paragraph 4 talked about the new layout. I guess that's not part of this application anymore either. Paragraph 5 talks about a new security plan for the new tenant, so that's off the table. Paragraph 6, that talks about the ADA parking, and Mr. Orlando indicated that they will provide, let's leave that there.
2 handicap parking spaces will be provided as part of this, appropriately signed and striped with a hard surface.
With a hard surface, okay. Paragraph 7, the existing 8-foot fence on the survey does not correspond with location of the fence on the site plan. We heard testimony tonight, we want that fence to stay in the same location it is now, is that correct?
That is not correct. I'm glad you brought that up. The gate actually sits a little bit further into the site. As part of this application, we're going to move the fence, the gate a little bit closer to the road so that all the parking is within the fenced-in area. So there is, my plan that's shown shows the correct configuration of the fencing and gate. The survey does show it about 40 feet, I would say. So that'll be changed.
So the fencing that's proposed as part of this is the fence that's shown on your plan, Mr. Orlando, correct?
That is correct.
That will incorporate additional gravel parking spaces.
That is
more
correct.
than is there now. And the gate itself, what is the width of the proposed gate? The one that's there is pretty narrow. Will it be wide enough to support two-way traffic?
Our fire code official made some comments, is that right, Chrissy? We didn't get any,
He did, but we have
Official
nothing
letter.
official.
and he was concerned about the turning radius, I guess at the corner of the building,
So I did take a look at the turning radius
for the fire trucks.
for the fire trucks. The existing fencing may need to be relocated slightly away from the building in order to accommodate that fire access. We will meet with the fire chief out on site. I have done a sketch to indicate where that is. It's in 2 locations, but we can accommodate a fire truck around the building.
And he also had a comment about the well and
I understood that they were looking for an upgraded well. Again, we'll meet with the fire official to determine what his needs are. And as a condition of any approval this evening, we'll gladly accept those conditions to meet with the fire department, talk about accessibility, both around the building and for the gate, if that's a concern of his, and along with the fire suppression
Yeah,
well.
comments I think we had.
So we will make that a condition, and we'll meet with him, and whatever he needs, we'll do.
Okay. So, I guess technically the board should, if they're inclined to approve this, should grant a design waiver for allowing parking to occur on non-paved surfaces. Your ordinance says that all parking has to be paved. This parking in the amended phase 1, parking will not be paved. stone, so you'll have to grant a design waiver allowing that.
Agreed.
So none of the number of employees, visitors, and deliveries has changed from the original approval that happened back in 2019 or 2020?
That is correct.
We've clarified that it's class 1 and class 2. Paragraph 13 talks about the fire department, fire chief. You've agreed to meet with him and make changes to the site as necessary to accommodate that.
Yes.
That's about it.
They cut out lots, so.
Right, so I guess the board needs to determine, can this operation exist the way it's proposed without the paid parking, without the stormwater management, things along those lines? Because it sounds like phase 2 may never come to fruition. If they don't get the power they need, it's gonna stay like this forever. So if you're okay with that, you should consider it.
It's functioning now.
Understood, but it's not how it was approved, so.
So just let me clarify, so in the original resolution, phase 1 was the addition of 38,400 square foot warehouse addition and 20,640 square foot greenhouse addition. So those did not happen?
Those did not happen.
Okay, and all site improvements. So what you had when you first came in, you essentially made no changes to the site other than the fence and so.
Other than the fencing, that's correct.
Do we have anything on timing? I think they were interested in knowing when anything might be happening, do we know?
Is there potential time frame for phase 2?
We don't, really, we're dependent on Atlantic Electric. Yeah, we'd like to think that they will be inclined to provide us adequate power because they're in the power business. So obviously, we're hoping that Atlantic Electric will move quickly so that we could start phase 2. And it's the Visconti brothers' intention to move along phase 2 if adequate power comes available.
So you're not gonna do phase 1 at all, that's out, you're gonna do phase 1 and then phase 2?
We'll do, phase 2 will consist of the additions that we, under the phase 1 previously.
Okay, so what we have listed in phase 1 will now be phase 2?
Yes.
And what will phase 2 be?
We'll also incorporate the components of phase 2.
Good. So phase 1 and 2 will happen together,
That is correct.
and at that point, you'll do all the site improvements?
That is correct.
We're listed. Okay. I think that, does that make more sense? Okay.
Any comments? We'll open up to the public.
Make a motion, we open it up.
Motion by Dan.
Thank you.
I'll second
Second by Anthony Gaetano, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions. Anybody from the public like to be heard regarding this application?
I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
And motion by Dana and second by Anthony Gaetano, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I make the motion, we approve the changes to the plan, for fencing, no paving, move the stuff from phase 1, it's not gonna be completed, to phase 2, and we'll meet with the fire department to find out about the turning radius as well.
Very good.
And that's the design waiver for the non-paved area.
Yeah.
That's. Okay.
Who was the second?
that. Justin?
Johnson. Mr. Gaetano?
Yes.
Mr. DeCesare?
Yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Yes.
Mr. Felici?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes, this is a simple addition to previous applications.
Chairman Gravener?
Yes, I agree. I mean, that place has been functioning out like that for 30 years. Very good. Maybe more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And my partner who retired, Mr. Philippone, is doing well and wanted me to wish good wishes to everyone.
Good to hear that.
He's retired after 37 years together. I miss him.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Good night, thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is CB 2412, ARCR Properties LLC. LLC. Good job, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Do we have the microphone back on, or do I have to talk
Well, the
loud?
microphone's been on, it wasn't recording, is what it was.
Oh, okay.
So it's always been on, but now we're recording in the back, so everything's good.
All right, I just wanted to make sure everybody can hear me all right.
Yep.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Good. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Cooper Levinson. I am here to present the application of ARCR Properties LLC. ARCR seeks a variance relief for minimum lot frontage at 0 Main Road, which is known as Block 5702, Lot 55, on the tax map of Franklin Township. This property is essentially a flag lot. Right now that we have a 10-foot wide driveway, which some of the members of the board are aware of at our previous application here. ARCR is seeking to construct one single-family home on the property, which is approximately 12 acres. The property is located in the RA Residential Agricultural Zoning District, where single-family residential dwellings are permitted use. And tonight I have two witnesses for the board, and I will try to be
Let's
as
swear them in.
quick as possible.
Please raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth about the testimony you're gonna give.
I do.
I do.
Name and address, please.
Rich Rosenberg, 2001 College Drive, Suite 19, Clementon, New Jersey.
You're the engineer, right?
Yep. Kyle Denny, P.O. Box 120, Franklinville, New Jersey.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're here on a reapplication process, a rehearing on this. We were here previously to present this application to the board. As the board would take a look at our new application, while we have 12 acres of lot area, there is, at the bottom of the picture, there's the 10-foot wide driveway, and obviously we heard from the perspective of the emergency vehicles, being able to have those vehicles traverse down that driveway was a concern. So what we've done is we are taking advantage of an existing access and utility easement over lot 54. There's a 50-foot wide easement area to access the our lot 55 off of Main Road. So I'm just going to ask Mr. Rosenberg, who is a representative of ARCR, to explain a little bit what he wants to do about the development and what type of house he's looking to put there.
We're looking to build either a one-story rancher, 3,200 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, with a walkout basement, or a 2-story, 4,500 square foot house, similar 4-bed, 2.5 bath, with a walkout basement.
All right. And what type of, is there going to be septic and well, or is it?
Well, septic.
So we've talked about accessing the property. Have you sought to purchase any additional area to access?
Yes, we mailed out.
And did you get any responses?
No, we did not.
All right. Now, obviously, the township has certain building requirements with respect to permitting and ordinance. Aside from lot frontage, do you think you can? Aside from lot frontage, do you believe that you can satisfy all the other existing requirements of the ordinance?
Yes, I do.
So if approved, will you be able to satisfy the conditions set forth by the board professionals, the engineer?
Yes, I can.
And obviously, and now the proposed access point, do you feel that this is sufficient to provide emergency vehicle access?
Yes.
Why don't you, that's an easement, because I remember from our last meeting.
That's correct.
Explain to us what that easement is, and what you're allowed to do with that easement, and how long has that easement been there?
So, and I was going to get to that because I was going to touch on that. So, this board previously approved a 3-lot minor subdivision
This
along,
board, not this.
or I'm sorry, the planning board. The planning board
Planning board messed up that.
previously approved a a three-lot minor subdivision, or I believe it may have been a major subdivision. There was, what I gathered from the Oprah response was that there was communications back and forth between board counsel and the applicant's counsel regarding whether it was a major or minor subdivision. But, moving on, it was my understanding that a three-lot minor subdivision, and I'll point to where it was. There was going to be 3 lots. The easement was proposed to provide access to those 3 lots in the back. We're not proposing to do anything different than what that easement grants. So that easement was recorded in connection with that, but the easement, and we can look to the language of the easement, anticipated that there would be changes, that there may be further subdivisions or subdivisions or modifications to those plans. That easement has been recorded, it's been in place, it's a matter of public record, and it runs with the land. It was recorded in 2012. It's been there for 11 years. Nothing's changed with that.
When they went in for their 3-lot subdivision,
Yes.
the planning board required that easement at the time?
I cannot say for sure whether the board required
To access that property?
required as a condition, but that was what was proposed.
Because they certainly couldn't have gone down the 10-foot
No.
line.
No, and I believe that the original application provided for the easement to access the 2 lots and then the driveway to access the 3rd lot. But my understanding is, based on my interpretation of reading the documents that I received, was that that was rejected, and there was the easement was to create a road, an access road off of Main Road. And at some point, obviously, I believe this went up to the county planning board, and at some point, the applicant withdrew the application from the county planning board. But again, the easement is still a matter of record. It's on the township's tax maps. It was part of the title search when my client bought the property, and he understood that it was, you know what, if we had to use this, he was going to use it, and it was a basis for him to purchase the property. So while I understand that there are people here tonight that are concerned about the use of the easement, our legal position is the easement's it's a legal right that was granted to the owner of lot 55 and continued, it's perpetual, and until it's terminated, it's a valid easement that we have a right to use.
Just gonna add, the easement, the recorded easement has an exhibit attached, which actually shows the 50-foot wide access, and it shows a 20-foot wide driveway going back to access 3 lots. So what they're doing now is they're having that same proposal, except it's gonna access as 1 lot of 1 house instead of 3 lots with 3 houses. And so it was done in anticipation of the easement was done in anticipation of those 3 lots, which they never did.
And the easement specifically says that it's done in anticipation of developing lot 55.
And that was more like a road that was 20 feet wide, right?
So like it was gonna be for 3 houses.
Yeah, so cars can get in and out, right?
Yeah, so we're trying to mitigate that and minimize the area that we're proposing to use. Since we're only proposing one house instead of 3, we'd like to just simply use the space of the existing driveway, which we have as 12 feet, rather than expanding on that area.
One driveway,
One driveway.
going back to the house. Right there. It's a shared driveway, it looks like.
It would be a shared, it would be a shared driveway, because the house on lot 54 the front of the house does not face towards Main Road, it actually faces towards that driveway. Oh, and also there's 2 additional driveways to access that lot 54 house, so it's not the sole means of access at this point.
is in the RA Residence Agriculture Zone. The minimum lot area in this zone is 1.5 acres. The applicant's lot is 12.26 acres. The street frontage requirement in this zone is 150 feet. This lot only has 10 feet of actual street frontage. The front yard, the side yard, rear yard, building height all meet or exceed the ordinance requirements. So the only variance that we're technically looking for tonight is street frontage. Okay. So I'd like to add one thing to that filed deed of easement. That easement is supposed to service lot 54 and lot 55. It also goes on to say, the easement says that the driveway will be the sole and exclusive means of ingress and egress to lot 54. So we heard testimony that there were other driveways on lot 54. They, as part of this easement, were supposed to be removed with only one access off of Main Road, serving lot 54 and 55.
That one driveway.
That one driveway in the 50-foot easement.
Well, that was probably the county.
Probably was. You probably have somebody with that, but I was just bringing to your attention what the easement actually says. And that easement is in fact 50 feet wide and provides access to that lot 55.
Now, Mike, we can't change this easement. The easement is there, right?
You cannot change the easement, you're just dealing with the fact that this lot has two options for access. The one was the 10 feet, which you indicated, you didn't make a decision on, but indicated it was not appropriate because it was too narrow. Plus, I know that neighbor was not interested in having more property taken. And this is the other access, but no, you can't do anything to unrecord.
You can't say you can't
You can't
use the
unrecord the
easement,
easement. You
You
cannot.
can't say we can't use the easement.
You cannot say they can't.
There's telephone pole there too.
Make motion to vote.
Motion to open up to the public by Andy Gaetano, second by Dan DeCesare. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Is there anyone from the public like we heard regarding this? If so, please.
Yeah, we all-
We all have.
Okay.
Come on.
That ain't gonna do it, you gotta come up here.
One at a time, come up. Chris, you set the timer. We have a three-minute limit, you'll see.
I will try.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, not the testimony you're going to give.
I do.
Name and address, please.
Kimberly Hinson, 2635 Main Road, Franklinville.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Okay. Good evening, board members and fellow neighbors. Happy to see quite a few familiar faces here tonight. Many of us were present here for the first meeting back in August. Thank you all for coming out tonight to show your support to our neighbors who are directly impacted by this variance if it is granted. My husband Kevin and I live at 2635 Main Road and have been Franklinville residents for just over 2 years now. During our house hunting experience back in 2022, we quickly fell in love with the town of Franklinville due to its beauty, abundance of nature and wildlife, and small town charm. I spoke here back in August and expressed my strong opposition to this requested variance, and I was happy to hear that this board was concerned with the safety of all who reside within 200 square feet of this property. Due to the lack of emergency vehicle access, which brought relief to not only my family, but to many of my neighbors here tonight as well. On 10/26, I was notified by my neighbor that another round of certified letters from Cooper Levinson was sent out. My household did not receive that certified letter, nor did we receive a delivery receipt by mail. I work from home on Main Road here, so I watched the mail get delivered every single day. There was no attempt. UPS did not once attempt to deliver the certified letter to my front door. They did not leave a delivery receipt. We did not receive any calls or a second attempt delivery notice, and on Monday, 11/4, my husband physically went over to the Franklinville post office and obtained our certified letter that was dated 10/25. The certified letter was sent to us by Cooper Levinson 12 days prior to this meeting here today. The certified letter process, I was told, takes 15 days from the day it is sent. After 15 days, the letter should have been returned to the sender if we did not claim it, which would have signified to the law office that we did not receive the letter at all. But I did receive it. I did go and physically pick it up, but I was not notified that it was at the post office. This feels very rushed to me, and I do realize that the township meeting agenda is released about 4 days prior to the township meetings, and I'm a millennial, so I will admit that I do not read the newspaper. So thank goodness for my neighbors who informed me that this township meeting was happening tonight. I do have a official filed complaint with USPS, and I hope to hear back with them, from them within the next 24 hours. I'll save the rest of my complaint for the Vineland Distribution Center supervisor. But let me just say, not receiving a certified letter or attempted delivering notice could lead to much bigger issues that can significantly impact someone's life. My neighbors, Karen and Scott, have a big, beautiful family, and I love hearing the kids playing outside in their backyard. Karen often posts the cutest pictures of their grandchildren playing outside, enjoying the nature and beauty that Franklinville provides year-round. I strongly oppose this requested variance, as this will negatively impact this family, their lifestyle, and the place they proudly call home. I am concerned about their safety and increase of traffic, construction vehicles for all of our neighbors, since this is such a tight area. Both Karen and Scott, as well as my other neighbors, Tara and Dave Royds, will be directly affected by this if approved. As members of this board and fellow Franklinville residents, I urge each of you to put yourselves in the shoes of all the neighbors who surround this property. If you own property at 2615, I have 10 words left. If you own a property at 2659 Main Road, Karen and Scott's house, would you want this variance approved? Thank you for your time. Thank you.
John, just to clarify, notice, we didn't mention the notice was properly given. I mean, as far as what the postal service does, all the obligation is for the applicant is to mail it at least 10 days prior to the meeting, which we do have proof they did that. And what happens?
Whether it gets there or it's not.
Unfortunately, what the post office does after that is beyond everyone's control.
How you doing?
Raise your right hand, please.
Yes,
Swear to tell the truth about the testimony you're gonna give.
I do.
Name and address, please.
My name is Kevin Henson, Kimberly's husband. I live at 2635 Main Road, but I'm going to be reading a letter on behalf of the Demencios, I'm sorry. They weren't able to make it. So Chad says, I'm the homeowner at 102 Whitetail Pass, Franklinville. I'm requesting postponement of the matter being discussed at the township meeting scheduled for Wednesday, November 6, 2024. As this matter of application for a request to build on the landlocked parcel behind the homes on Main Road and Whitetail Pass, we are in opposition to this proposal. We did not receive notice of this matter being discussed at the meeting until Wednesday, October 30th. The certified letter was ripped and had not been placed in our mailbox on that date. We will not be able to attend the township meeting on November 6th due to a previously scheduled trip taking us out of the country. We would like the opportunity to voice our concerns and the opposition to this proposal. I purchased my home at 102 Whitetail Pass in April and received notice shortly thereafter that this builder was interested in building on the landlocked parcel with access of a 10-foot wide road behind our home. At that time, the builder was denied access to build, with that entrance being a slim 10-foot utility easement that would have encroached on our property as well as the adjacent properties on Main Road. The builder suggested cutting trees on our property to allow for emergency vehicles to access the property if needs be, which was thankfully obviously shot down. We've become aware that this new proposal is now requesting to encroach on another homeowner's property on Main Road. We would like the opportunity to ask questions regarding the legality of use of this utility easement for use other than utility or township purposes. It is legal for another builder or homeowner to be granted use of your land. Isn't an easement, after all, still land that is owned by the legal homeowner? We understand use by the township, but not by a private home for a driveway. And being that the driveway being proposed is on, again, a 10-acre wide, wouldn't this run into the same issue, or a 10-foot, I'm sorry, wouldn't this run into the same issue as before with the emergency vehicles such as fire trucks encroaching on the homeowner's property? After speaking with the homeowners on Main Road, we also have questions regarding the timing that the easement on the property was established during the time when their home was bank-owned in foreclosure. We do not feel it is fair to approve the building project without addressing the questions of adjacent homeowners that are impacted. We oppose the project and at the very least are asking for postponement of this matter so that we can have the opportunity to seek answers to these pertinent questions. Thank you for your time and consideration. Chad. Did I leave this with you?
Sure, thank you.
There you go.
Next, please. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth about the testimony you're going to give.
I do.
Name and address, please.
Tara Royds, 2647 May Road, Franklinville. I have a lot to say, so I'm going to read quickly, sorry.
As stated, the builders do not have lot frontage. Have you guys had the opportunity to drive by the area that we are speaking about recently to see what would be getting squished in? I've lived here for 16 years. In my opinion, this would not be beneficial change. I grew up where houses were on top of each other, and that is great if that's the lifestyle that you choose, but we decided that was not for us. We chose Franklinville for the benefits of the nature, wildlife, land, and a place that we would love to make our lifestyle complete. On May 2nd of 2008, it was one of the best days of our lives, knowing that we secured our dream here in our perfect little spot in Franklinville. Building would upset the above benefits. We enjoy the beautiful wildlife like the red-tailed hawks and other animals that have made their homes in the tree lines with plants and others. Projects like this ruin the established benefits of a thriving ecosystem. Not only are the builders who do not have lot frontage disturbing the benefits that my neighbors and I receive daily, but if granted, then our township would be allowing permanent disruption to its residents' current lifestyles. This would be disrupting a beautiful land, an unsightly road driveway that would be going down my property line as well. You would be uprooting a family that I've watched grow here for the past 10 years, a hardworking, tax-paying family that has put so much love into their property. This piece of property was foreclosed on. I was here to watch that too. It was a vacant lot with unauthorized people going in and out of it. I am most grateful to have neighbors meticulously care for it now. They enjoy multiple family gatherings throughout the year, and it brings me joy to know that they love what they have like we do too. They laugh and enjoy their grandchildren in the yard, and I have concerns for safety. The kids run over to say hello to us and our dog. This would change our friendly lifestyle and be a danger. If the frontage was granted, the road would make me nervous for their safety since they are used to running over here. They are not used to heavy machinery or vehicles in and out. Can fire trucks come in and ambulances go out? Will there be above ground telephone poles that could pose a danger to my solar panels, or will they be underground? What will the materials for the driveways be? What would the grading and water runoff be? Will there be negative effects? There is a tractor trailer building across the street. They come in and out of the property directly across from us, and I have concerns because they do make illegal U-turns on my front lawn, and I kindly ask you to decline the variance that they are asking for, because this would be detrimental to us. And I did have just one other quick question. I'm not sure if I heard correctly because it's a little hard to hear back there, but the house that they were proposing, did he say it was a 2-story?
I wasn't sure whether it could be a ranch or a 2-story, did it?
Okay, because in the letter we got 1 story, so I was unclear on that. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Good evening. Raise your right hand, please. Raise your right hand, please. Swear to tell the truth, not the testimony you give.
I do.
Name and address.
Name is Donald Wright, Max Wright, AKA. I live at 105 Lewis Court. I bought my house 17 years ago this month, and at the time when I purchased it, I was told the lot behind me was landlocked and it would never be developed. That is this lot. I don't know whether that matters or not. The lot is 100% natural. The only thing, it does have a small trail that runs through it, that's it. The development of that lot would not benefit the existing community at all, or the township at all, 0. The lot is home to numerous wildlife, and developing that lot would probably drive that wildlife out. It would be gone because the environment would be gone. I have seen deer in my yard, raccoons, opossums, skunks, snakes, chipmunks, squirrels that are everywhere, and more species of birds than I can count. And most of them come out of that wooded area. This application has been before the board before 2 months ago, September, and it was tabled because so many people were in opposition of it. There are people that didn't get the certified letter. I can testify to that. I found it in my mailbox, and the certification was ripped off it, which confused me. But as soon as I saw who it was from, I knew what it was about. I said, and I've been waiting for that lot to come back, because years ago I owned property in Upper Township, Cape May County. And I understand how it works. You just keep coming back, and eventually you get what you want. That's the way it works. There's nowhere near as many people here now as there was 2 months ago, because some people, they have the attitude, doesn't matter what I think or what I feel, what happens, happens. It's going to happen. And that's pretty much what I've got to say. Properties Limited Liability Company bought this lot a little more than a year ago. They bought the lot to build a house on it, flip it, sell it, make a profit, move on. They don't care about Franklin Township or the community or the people that live there. They're just in it to make money. That's pretty much what I got to say. All right, thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard? Come forward, please. Raise your right hand, please. Swear to tell the truth, not the testimony you give.
Yes.
Name and address, please.
Karen Sinsman, 2659 Main Road, Franklinville, New Jersey. I'm going to try and shorten this because I didn't realize we were timed on this. We are the current homeowners, Scott and my husband here, of 2659 Lot 54, that they're referring to, that this extended driveway will pass through our front lawn. I have properties where they're saying it's vacant lot. It is not a vacant lot. It is where we park our cars daily. Here is my home. This is the driveway they are proposing to extend over, which will destroy. This is a memorial area I have for Scott, serving 30 years in the Air Force. It will take over this. My well sits directly behind this flagpole. So all this area, they will have to, this is where my grandkids play. These are 2 trees planted in memorial of my sister and my brother who passed in a motor vehicle crash due to a drunk driver. Scott parks here daily. So this extended driveway, this leads to our detached garage. So this extended driveway potentially could also cause danger to someone driving through there. I want to skip to important issues as far as this easement, when it was created, because I know we don't have much time. So I'm going to jump to, all right. The easement and creation of itself, I had questioned. I have dates that I've obtained back from public records. I can share the paperwork with you. I apologize, but I questioned how this easement was even permitted. The prior homeowner went into foreclosure on March 17, 2011. While in active foreclosure for almost a year, he created this easement on 2/3/2012, just days before sheriff's sale on 2/9/2012. He literally had this easement created 16 days prior to sheriff's sale. And interesting to note is a clause toward the bottom of this easement, which they kind of mentioned earlier, where it is actually negatively affecting him. So he obviously knew he was leaving. This was granted to benefit his father, who owned the land behind him, which now ACR owns. Within our title, I also did find a statement under Schedule B, Section 2, number 16. I will read this to you, which I believe protects us as far as this easement. Deed of easement and restriction. This is our entire Northern Title Agency packet. Deed of easement and restriction contained in Deed Book 4937, page 58, which is that. The proposed policy will ensure that the above easement and/or right-of-way does not affect the habitability, use, or enjoyment of subject premises, which this severely impacts us. I also was questioning in New Jersey, because I couldn't detain a lawyer. We were limited to the same thing. We didn't get the notice until Friday, 5 days before this. I found information online because I'm trying to support us. We're really upset about this. A legal easement cannot be created while a property owner is in foreclosure, because a foreclosure potentially can wipe out existing easement. A subordination agreement would have been signed by the lender.
I assume that you're opposed to the application because you're not.
Yeah, but there's a lot more. Scott, can I speak with Scott up here? This will be our additional.
His turn now. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, not the testimony.
I do.
Name and address.
My name is Scott Stinsman, 2659 Main Road, Franklinville, New Jersey. What my wife is telling me right now is what we found out was that this easement was actually done as he was leaving the house. Because as a matter of fact, when they put it through on the date, it shows on the 29th of February of that year, he was a sheriff's sale. The sheriff's foreclosed on the property. This was done intentionally to put it through, as 50 feet puts it right in front of our house on our property and all the way back through our backyard, which we right now we own, and we also pay for 1.87 acres of property taxes here in Franklinville. You're basically taking almost half of our royalty.
This easement is on your.
It's on the front lawn.
Yes, we are 54. We are number 54.
Where'd the pictures go?
You're the one that.
The board has it. Okay, so there's photos of our driveway.
You're the property that the prior owners have, the easement is on your property.
Correct. It's on our front lawn.
And they done it while they were in
That was
foreclosure.
granted, and it was approved.
It was also done through foreclosure.
Which, from what I hear, I found is not allowed.
We can't change any of that. You need
But
to
it's
hire an attorney, I think, and we.
But it
Right.
but also
But
shows
we-
that the state of New Jersey has also stated that you can't put out an easement through while your property is going through foreclosure.
We, you know, that's not for us here.
Right.
We can't change any of that.
So anyway, I was trying to explain to what, he can't read my handwriting. Can I continue to read or no?
Well, you can take his, I mean.
Okay, thank you.
Take my time.
I appreciate it. This is.
You can take his minutes.
Okay, one of my questions today is who's going, so we have a well, I mentioned earlier. If this roadway, driveway will be a few feet from my well with extending it, who is going to pay for the repairs for this well if there's damage to it during or even after the construction of the extended driveway? This extended driveway will run directly through our backyard, heavily impact our home and family. This is our home. This is our safe place where my 7 grandchildren, whom I watch 5 days a week, run and play, where my 2 puppies run free every day, not to mention where we have privacy of our large family reunions, gatherings, celebrations, hay rides, etc. The list goes on. My point here is imagine if this were your home, the horrible impact this would place on you and your family. You now wake up to random cars, trucks, deliveries, etc. all hours of the day, driving through your front lawn and backyard. There's additional safety concerns, including there's absolutely no lights through our backyard. They propose to place a new driveway back there. How is this going to be safe? Are we to feel safe having random cars crossing through our yard, potentially running into our driveway, our detached garage, I should say, where we park daily? Just a thought of this is dangerous. Our next concern is the trash pickup. Is the new homeowner going to have trash pickup at the property, allowing large trash trucks, leaf trucks to drive also through our property as well? The next concern, I would take emergency, is inclement weather, I should say. My husband and I have always parked at the very front of we have a U-turn there. The U-turn, he parks at the front, I park over here, and I take emergency on call 5 to 6 nights a week for 5 different hospitals. I need to have free access to leaving my property at all times. We only shovel like 3 feet off the main road because we don't want to shovel all the way back here. Who now is going to plow all this driveway going into the woods for the new homeowner? That's a question because it shouldn't be dumped onto us. What else we have?
Okay.
I did have more, but it's okay.
I think we got the point. Anyone else like to
Thank you
hear?
for.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
I'm not mayor.
Oh, okay. Sorry, sir.
You should be.
Okay.
You sort of tell the truth, not the testimony you're gonna do.
Yes, sir, I do.
Name and address.
My name is Carmen Anthony Palutro II. I live at 122 Whitetail Pass. Me and my wife are over here opposed of this. I agree with just all my neighbors. I'm going to back them up and help them. And we lived there for 18 years. We love it. It's a beautiful house. We raised our family there. They went to Delsey, both of my kids. And pretty much I want to back them up, and I oppose for every reason that every one of my neighbors said. So I'll cut it short and not make him holler at me. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Anyone else like to be heard?
Good evening.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, not the testimony you're gonna give.
I do.
Name and address.
Brenda Brooks, 104 Whitetail Pass. I'm here also to support my neighbors. You know, I live in the Deer Meadows development, and it's beautiful. You know, I've been there for going on 15 years. Quiet, no problems at all. Although I agree and support everything that everybody is saying, what I want to say is that it appears that we don't get information. Okay, and it appears to me that it's designed that way so that we can't come and and speak about it, because I don't even know where the property is going to be modified. You get no diagram, you get nothing. You get something in the mail, and I agree also with my neighbors that the first letter that I received it was certified. The second one I received was like last week. So it gives you no time to even prepare or ask questions, and I believe that it's designed so that when you come here, folks don't know what they're talking about, and it'll make it easier for the individual to do what they're trying to do. So I appreciate you listening to me, but I am in support of my neighbors, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to be heard? If not, motion to close the public portion.
I make a motion, we close the public portion.
Motion by Daniels, accessory.
Second.
By Andy Gaetano, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
John, just for the record, I've marked those photos as A1,
Okay.
so since the board took a look at them.
Okay, do you have any remarks you want to make for the public comment?
Well, I mean, like, the fact of the matter is our application hasn't changed. And while I am sympathetic to the parties' individual circumstances, I mean, my client has a legal right to access the property. And we have 2 points of access to this property. One is a 10-foot wide driveway, which we came here and asked the board, and we got a very negative response to that.
Kind of sent you in the other direction.
Kind of sent us in the other direction. And this is the circumstance we were trying to avoid, but denying this application would render this property into utility. And that would deny my client his rights to utilize his property in the way he sees fit. We're asking for a very straightforward variance. It's a one bulk variance. Every other standard is far exceeded. We're proposing to build one house in the property. That's one house is not going to affect drainage. It shouldn't affect wildlife to the extent that has been stated tonight. My client has 9 other builds in this township. Yes, he builds houses and he earns a living from that, but everybody else in this room does a job and expects to earn a living from that. So, like I said, while we are sympathetic, we have an easement. It's a legal easement. It hasn't been challenged. It hasn't been overturned by a court order, and we're seeking to utilize that easement.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the whole development aspect, and a couple of the people that had given input, they're in planned developments. The adjacent lots are 1 acre apiece. They're 50-lot subdivisions. I previously provided that testimony to the board. I don't think some of the members of the public were here for that. I'm a resident of this town also. Those developments came in with 50 lots. Those properties were all fully wooded, and we're just looking to construct one single-family home.
And I'm sorry, I did want to address one additional comment, because there was a number of concerns regarding notice. We've complied with the MLUL in terms of our notice requirements. We provided proof, an affidavit of the notice that we've published the notice in the appropriate newspaper and served notice more than 10 days in advance of this meeting. So,
And our solicitor concurs with that. You did everything that you're supposed to do. Whether the Postal Service brought it there. Mike, you have anything to add?
No, I think, except that, your comment to the most affected property owners, that they actually think they have legal issues regarding the validity of the easement initially, or the fact that the title company protects them, they need to pursue that, but we can't really pursue that for them or change that. They need to seek legal advice if they want to do that.
Dave, anything else, or you?
Any approval should be subject to and conditioned upon the roadway being acceptable for emergency vehicles. So the fire company should weigh in on this also.
this application will. I mean, the 10 feet, the 10-foot driveway, we can try to make, we can make that work, but the emergency vehicle access was the concern.
What does that easement show?
The easement is 50 feet wide, and we're proposing to do a 12-foot wide driveway.
Okay. What's your intention? You heard the testimony. The public and from the applicant.
I know the public part's closed. Can I ask a question real quick? So what happens if they do retain a lawyer, challenge it, and it's overturned? Where does everything go then?
I'm not an attorney, so I can't answer that question.
You're the mayor. I would vote for you.
Mike, I assume they'd have to get an injunction to stop any kind of operation.
Yeah, I mean, if they got an attorney quickly and got an opinion, then we're gonna, if you granted it tonight, the resolution wouldn't be till next month, so they can certainly appeal it, pending something happening with an attorney. So the owner of lot 5402, I believe, is where the 10 feet is. I'm assuming they weren't interested in allowing more than the 10 feet, otherwise that would solve the problem as well. You have to allow some access to the lot. You can't.
Wasn't there a conservatory on the other side of Whitetail Pass?
There is a conservatory on the backside of Whitetail Pass, which runs adjacent to the driveway.
I'll make a motion not.
I'll second it. Okay, a motion to deny the application by Anthony Gaetano, seconded by Dana. So a yes is to deny it, correct?
A yes would be to deny.
Okay. And they need just a majority.
Yes, it's not a use variance.
Okay, Chris, roll call.
Mr. Gaetano?
Yes.
Mr. DeCesare?
Yes.
Mr. Hamel?
Sorry to waste everyone's time. This is something I'm very uncomfortable with, personally. I think that there's some major issues with that easement. I'm not comfortable approving this or denying it. Can I abstain from this? This is something that I just don't really.
You have a right to yes, no, or abstain.
I'm gonna abstain.
Mr. Felici?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
No.
Mr. Gravener?
No.
It's denied.
No, you have 3 votes.
You need 3 yes votes.
You need a majority.
Yeah.
You only have 4.
One abstention.
You have 3 yes, 2 no, 1 abstention.
vote, and you'll have to, we don't know if it's approved or not,
Well,
because,
well, if I'm correct, then it has been approved, but it also hasn't been denied because the
Right,
motion on,
yes.
the motion has been to deny. So if I guess, are you saying that we have to come back again?
No, you don't have to
Represent
come
the
back again.
application?
You have to- I think you need to figure out what the law
We'd
is.
have to determine what this vote is, whether it's a granting or a denial.
We would have to, once it's either a denial or,
You're saying they would have to revote?
I think they would have to revote. Because if there's not, if it's a majority of the quorum, and the motion is to deny the application, and that's not resolved, then I think they have to revote. Do you want to take a couple minutes and talk about it?
Do you want to give me a minute? I'll grab mine. Yeah, I do. I have it next door.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Can't hear anything.
Yeah, we can't hear nothing.
I can't hear it either, so.
Yeah. Shouldn't we? Say it out loud. Shouldn't we hear this?
What are we doing?
Recess. We're gonna take a look at the law on this.
Okay, so we're gonna take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let them figure out what is right and what isn't.
It's not, that's been sleeping. I mean, hey, notice it.
Okay, what's the conclusion?
Yeah. We concluded. Have you
What's the conclusion?
We concluded that it is a denial. That it is, this from the that it is a denial.
Okay, so it was denied. The application was denied.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, resolutions? Resolutions? You want to move?
Okay, we had Garden State Harvest LLC, which was denied.
Motion?
I make a motion to approve the resolution on second.
Motion by Dana, seconded by Justin. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I abstain.
You have to do a roll call vote. Can they do an all in favor?
Yes, they can.
They can?
Yes, next month.
Okay, secretary report.
Threat?
We'll have a lot more.
You want to threat us?
Yeah, that was a threat, wasn't it?
That was a threat.
Please, we're trying to finish up our meeting. I'm sorry. Then you can do what you want with them.
Okay.
No secretary's report?
So we have township
Any correspondence?
See you next month.
All in favor? Aye.